Steve, are you ready? All right, we will open the December 3rd, 2025 Planning Commission meeting. City of Norwood. Mrs. Town, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Powers,
Present?
Mayor Schneider,
Here, yes.
Mrs. Sickinger,
Present.
Mr. Hockney,
Present.
Mr. Sewer.
Present.
Move to item B, approval of the agenda. Any amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Mrs. Town, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Powers,
Yes?
Mayor Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mr. Hockney,
Yes.
Mr. Sewer.
Yes.
Moving to item C, approval of the minutes, November 5th, 2025. And special meeting, was the special meeting included?
It was not, I'm sorry.
So that is approval of the minutes of the November 5th meeting. Any changes to the minutes?
No, can you just wait just 1 second till I think I had a question.
Yes.
Right beyond time.
On the minutes, sir?
I had a question in the minutes that it was repeated twice. Ralph, you may have to answer this, right? It was repeated twice, not by a board member, but by one of the members speaking, that at the council meeting, it was decided that the residents on Robertson would not be part of the main PUD on the south. Is that a correct statement? Or we have one PUD or we have two PUDs?
On Robertson South?
There were two PUDs.
There are two,
On Robertson South, there's two separate PUDs.
well, there was one
yes.
plan.
One for the main building and one for the piece of parcel that they took over the building, that they purchased and tore down the structure.
For the house, the house. that they-
Correct,
But those are two separate PUDs.
yes.
And there's one plan laying over both PUDs.
Okay, so that's how we get through the fact that you don't have to treat, it just was confusing as I read it. If that's true, but we're acting like it's one major, but it's one overlay is what you're saying.
Correct.
It's the first time I've ever been through that kind of thing to where the overlay controls not the two PUDs.
It's certainly unusual.
Okay, thank you. That's the only clarification I had.
You're welcome.
It was very convoluted, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would be the first one to say that.
Any changes to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Seconded.
Mrs. Town, please call the roll.
Chairman Powers,
Yes?
Mayor Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Sickinger,
Yes.
Mr. Hockney,
Yes.
Mr. Sewer.
Yes.
Moving to item D, new business. Lonnie Leverage, representing Encompass Health Corporation, owners of 4953 Section Avenue, Norwood, Ohio, 45212, Hamilton County, ID 651-004-0002-00, located within an M2 PUD. M2 Heavy Manufacturing District is presenting a previously approved as future build through the PUD process in 2014 building addition.
That's correct. Hi, I'm Lonnie Leverage with SSOE, here to present the Encompass expansion. In this first exhibit, you'll see the Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital. It is not the side that is getting the expansion. Here, you'll see the two previously approved expansion points of the hospital. They each of them would incorporate 4 beds on both sides. In the center of that, there's a day space. That's true for the whole portion of those wings. This is actually this floor plan here you see now is actually part of the previous approval done by Perkins and Will. Here is another plan showing the expansion points. This is the SSOE version. This is the civil plan, one of the civil plans that we have, again, showing the expansion. I wanted to point out that the client has asked, there are some parking spaces down in the bottom portion of the plan that were added. They would like, there are 12 of them, they would like to keep them. They were added for the remediation work that's happening on the adjacent site. I don't know if that's a possibility.
They were added because they took away some spaces
Yes.
from them during the remediation of the property next door. So in doing so, they had to, the remediation people had to make new parking spaces. And now they're asking to keep those spaces.
Okay.
So, yes, that's true. They would like to keep them. They feel that it would be helpful to patients and the families. The portion due to the remediation that was taken away, they'll have access to it. This is great here. It's a little hard to see on the screen, but they'll have that back once the remediation is done. But they would like to, if they can, keep the bottom parallel parking.
Talking about the spaces next to the lateral?
Yes, they are next to the lateral. That portion of the drive is currently 30 feet, so it would take up about, and they do now currently take up about 10 feet.
I'm going to ask you to speak that. We have somebody up here playing with paper.
Okay, so that portion of the drive is 30 feet. The parallel parking spaces currently take up 10 feet, around about 9, 10 feet.
So the drive is going to be about 20 feet.
Yes. Okay. Moving on. Again, there are some keynotes shown here with the additional showing again what we're doing in terms of civil. You have that copy. I just wanted to point out that we do have some landscape work happening. So Plan North, you'll find that we will be adding 2 trees. Oh, well, actually, there's a third that I believe the landscape architect is concerned about on the plan upper, like the northeast portion. They're concerned that I think that they might have to take that out. So that is, they're showing a new one there as well, but there's one currently there. So, but yes, the idea is to continue the courtyard kind of serpentine walkway to the end, and the additions will be there's actually a fence that will also go out with the addition. So there's a courtyard fence that will also go out with the addition currently. So we're just trying to maintain the look and feel outward. So it's about right here. I don't see my mouse. I can't see my mouse. Just to give you an idea of I was told to show floor plans. This is the addition for one of the wings. The other one is identical, just mirrored on the other side. So this is just showing the patient rooms. They're head to head. We have the toilets. This is how the rest of the facility is structured. Just to give you an idea of a patient room. Probably don't care too much about that. This is, we have showing the east wing, the exterior. What we plan on doing is adding brick to the remainder of the building. Currently, the ends of the building look like so. We are infilling 2 windows that were adjacent patient bedrooms. That is, we will be adding those to the sides of the building because all patient bedrooms require a window. So that would be the rendering. That would be what it would look like, which is on that side.
So that's the interface in Rossett.
Yes. And that concludes the presentation. Any questions? I can go back if you need to.
Questions?
Mine is less of a question, more of just a comment that you're expanding. As I look at this building, you have like 2 wings, and you are expanding both of the wings, the patient care wings, by removing an area that's green space and basically just adding on to those. And you're not really changing. You're really not changing the driveway that goes around the building.
No.
It's the same distance. You are taking away the green space, but you also have some landscape plans to put some trees in and do some improvements there. So I think that's all I'm looking at here is, that's it.
Yes.
I guess my only question is going back to the 10 spaces you're requesting to keep. I'm not understanding why that request is necessary. Is it on your property? Is it on the easement, part of remediation?
So it's part of the remediation.
Okay.
And it is currently part of that access drive. So the client wants to know if they can keep it. Let's see if I can. Probably shows the best. And it shows on your plan as well. The client kind of likes to keep this as
Seeing where the
now, I guess they're just concerned that because Reliant is doing remediation efforts on the other site, they were concerned that they might have an issue with that because I believe it's part of the access drive's easement.
And these have been allowed temporarily, but they're not included in the PUD that's been approved.
Gotcha. Thank you. It was put in, they allowed the remediation team to put parking spaces there. And in doing so, technically, those spaces are supposed to go away once they're done with the remediation. They would like to keep those spaces. Understood.
So Ralph, do you see a problem with them keeping the spaces?
I would like the fire department to talk about that because it's 20 feet wide. I think it's wide enough for their trucks to get around there, but I want them to make
I know.
a determination of that, to put their 2 cents into it, to let us know what's going on. But I don't have a problem with that. In my write-up, I want to have a study of, because they're adding the 4 beds, what's that going to do to the number of people and so on, to do a parking lot study. So.
Can I ask the assistant chief for any opinions?
So, I mean, it's currently that way. We make access there all the time. It's not been a problem for us, so I don't see any issue from our standpoint keeping it that way.
Thank you. Any further questions? Mr. Mayor?
I have a question on the caveat that from Ralph from your letter.
Yep.
A parking study will be completed showing that staff, patient, and guest parking spaces are adequate per the latest code. We're adding 4 beds. And
It's just that I need to find out, I want to make sure they have enough parking spaces to start with. And with their staff and in direction, by adding the 4 beds, is it going to increase their staff load? How many people? Because there are shifts and what's happening. I just want to have a conversation with them, basically, how we get enough parking spaces for them.
one follow,
Yes.
Why would you not have that conversation prior to this meeting and have that squared away?
That's true.
This is the,
It's in
so
my
you
write-up.
guys just received this a few minutes prior to this meeting?
The notice that they wanted to keep those 4 spaces. But I wanted to know that there is enough parking with the 4 beds.
Wait,
The addition of the 4 beds, I'm just asking them, when we get the construction documents, we will do a study of the parking. That's all.
Mr. Mayor?
if we're trying to make it as hard as possible for everybody at all times, you're doing a pretty good job bringing things up after the fact. I think if it's coming to the planning commission, staff should have these questions. When you talk about these extra spots, I even think the fire department should have sent a letter saying, hey, we're all good with it. Not he has to be here and we have to ask him and find out later. We should be able to, in the planning commission, we should be able to say, the questions that have came up have been answered. We're all good to go. It's approved. Instead, it seems like every time we meet here, it's, well, the staff's got questions about this and this. Well, do your homework. I'm supposed to read these things before I come to the meeting and understand what's going on. I ask for packets to be delivered and that we have the information prior to it so that we can have a productive, quick, efficient meeting that takes care of the city's business. What we're getting right now is, well, we've got some, and I apologize, this is really not
Well,
part for
This is
you.
the
It's-
first time we've heard about the keeping of those parking spaces on the side of the building.
Then I would say that shouldn't even be, I'm sorry, I'm going through. I mean, I would say that's declined. I wouldn't amend what you came to the table with is what we should approve or not approve. Not, well, let's add this on, oh, well, you know, we're in the meeting, let's add that or add this. That's not how it should work. In my opinion. Now, I'm only one commissioner, I understand.
No?
Yes.
You happen to be the architect for SSOE?
I do. So
Can you answer Vic's question about parking?
I have some of that information. If I can
Because I was going to say,
just hold on a second. My computer decides to work for me. So we currently were approved with 81 parking spaces. The total that we had, or that Perkins and Will had assessed would be required were 93. So it was approved with 81 parking spaces back in 2017 or whenever it was approved. 2014. But at that time, they had estimated that the total spaces should be 93. That's what I'm looking at, something that was issued.
When you say it was 93, was that considering these additional rooms?
So my assessment is no, because in plan it says one space per one bedroom unit, 40, and now they have 48. So they are adding 8. So I would say that we would need more parking.
Further questions or discussion by commission members? Staff?
I have to ask Ralph this, I should know this and I don't, I apologize. When the parking was adjusted, if I'm not mistaken, mandatory parking, wasn't that an adjustment that was made by an ordinance to council? Do we mandate parking anymore?
Space-wise, yeah.
We still do. In certain conditions, we do not.
Correct.
And those conditions don't apply here.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
The issues is that it was the PUD that's there, granted the number of parking spaces there. And now that we're adding the 4 beds, what's that going to do? And they're saying that they have to add more parking spaces.
It looks like the addition was approved though with the 81.
Mr. Mayor?
My comment would be it's bad, it's a bad plan. It wasn't well thought out. It wasn't presented properly. It doesn't meet the parking requirements. In hindsight, or afterthought, I should say, they said, oh, let's add 10 more of these 10 minutes before this meeting. I don't see how we could approve this plan because it clearly is not meeting the requirements.
So when they came in, and I don't know what transpired in 2014, okay? But it was approved with the possible addition onto the building. And the parking that was there would have been substantial, at least according to the commissioners.
So this expansion of the building was previously approved
It
with
was
the
previously
parking as
approved,
it currently
but
is.
They have a certificate of occupancy, so the reason they're coming back to you is to reapply for these additions. Based on, that's all they're doing, it's the same exact addition that was
It expired
proposed
because it wasn't.
in the expired plans.
Mr. Mayor?
So you would say that this was all planned, all along it was planned. It was approved with not the right amount of parking, but now they're saying we're going to add 10 more, which still doesn't take it to the amount of parking that they're supposed to have. But it was previously approved with a lesser number. And now they're adding, at least they're adding 10 more parking spaces to it. And it was a pre-approved plan and we're comfortable with that portion of it.
Yes, I mean, it was, like I said, the commission pre-approved it in 2014. Now, since everything's expired and they have a certificate of occupancy for what's existing right now, they had to come back to you to say, we are now adding these on, and the base plan was approved. And getting the 10 extra parking spaces is a benefit.
Is it 10 or is it 12? How many spaces is it?
So I believe it's not 10.
12.
It is
At
12.
least that's
Yes.
what this plan shows, 12.
Then it's
12.
Which is even better. Okay.
That our civil engineer, yes, 12.
I know I said 12.
Good job.
So all they're coming for is the approval to do the addition because it's in a PUD. Otherwise, it would have been approved by right because they've already approved it. And we would have done an evaluation based on the original approval. And now they're just going ahead and adding it on.
Are there any concerns from staff? Mr. Skelly? Well, please turn on your microphone. Thank you.
So not a concern, but just for clarification, if you could maybe call up one of the layouts that shows the entire access and the parking.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sure. Let me get this back up. Oh, hold on. I'm having technology difficulties. Try that again. Does it look like your desktop? Okay, sure. Showing it. So that one's not going to show the drive. Let's go further. A little better.
Are you trying to see the 12 additional spots?
Well, no, yeah.
Because that one doesn't, that,
Just for the members and for the applicant, in the last 3 months, I've received a couple of calls for redevelopment proposals for 5 acres. So I think either Nyer's getting more aggressive or they're being a little more flexible with the price or whatever. So when I noticed quickly on the plan, I thought it almost reflects almost that this is like future stuff. Which
It is.
good. And then obviously an access lane. So I'm just kind of curious, that's not going to compact or track or any kind of redesign for that.
Uh,
My point being twofold. It's a good thing, and I don't know if there was a preliminary plan for the whole thing, which memorialized interconnection between the 5 acre and your site.
So I'm only concerned with this portion of the site, but my understanding is it's possible that, yes, there's, could be access to the other site through this route, but I'm, as far as I know, there's no, I didn't know about those plans.
Okay.
So if that happens, then the possibility, I mean, it may be that those have to be removed at that point in time.
Okay, appreciate the answer.
Sorry. I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it's just to know how these two integrated, because it was like I said, it's been kind of idle for a few years, so it just seems late. There's a couple of inquiries being made for that redevelopment of that site.
And it's possible. I'm not sure. I suppose they could come off the other street as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
If those 12 parking spaces are there and they're 10 feet wide, what's the travel lane within that area? I mean, is it 20 feet wide?
Yeah, it's about 20 feet.
20 feet plus the 10 feet where the cars would be parking. So you've got 20 feet of travel lane there, which could accommodate traffic flow going both ways, which, so, okay. It's a good point, though.
Mr. Wolf, any comments?
No, I mean, we talked about pretty much everything. The only other things are that I would recommend that, because they're adding the 8 beds, that if the state require any documentation from the state be submitted, and all new work should comply, which they will be, with the 2024 Ohio building codes.
Any other questions or comments from Commission? So this is a minor modification of a PUD, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. We'll entertain any motions from the commissioners.
I'll make the motion that we approve the addition of 8 beds at 4953 Section Avenue, located within an M/PUD.
Does your motion include the additional 12 parking spaces?
It's a difference.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mrs. Town, would you please call the roll?
I'm sorry.
I second it.
So the motion is to approve the addition of the 8 beds at 4953 section of New Norwood, located in M2 PUD, and the additional 12 parking spaces that were temporary.
That's correct.
Thank you. Motion by Mr. Sewer, second by Mrs. Signature. Yes, may I call the roll? Chairman Powers,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder,
Yes.
Mrs. Signature,
Yes?
Mr. Hockney,
Yes.
Mr. Sewer.
If I could wait on my vote to ask a quick question of possibly Noah. No, why do these have to be temporary
They
spaces?
were.
They were temporary.
They were temporary because they were built because of the property next
Okay, the way it's
door.
worded will not be temporary, they won't be removed.
They won't be removed.
They
We're
are-
voting to change
These
it
are
from
12
temporary to permanent.
permanent spaces.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you for the clarification. Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You get a half size set.
Moving on to item F, old business, review of a draft ordinance amending Part 3 Traffic Code, Chapter 305, traffic control relating to an ordinance adopting and authorizing a street naming and numbering policy to ensure public health, safety, and general welfare, as well as effective transportation navigation within the city. Mr. Skelly, I believe you prepared this?
I
Do you have some brief comments?
Sure. The purpose of the draft ordinance this you're referring to is primarily to act as a policy that delegates the responsibility for approving street names, street addresses to the safety service director or his delegate. The reason behind that is essentially the hope is to kind of streamline the decision-making and is still allowing for the involvement of the planning commission if necessary as approval. But the intent is that a plan would come in, the safety service director would give it to the delegate. Again, it could be someone from the building department, public works, fire, whoever. The review would be conducted, a documentation approval or conditional approval or denial. It would be sent back to the safety service director with a copy to the applicant. And if there was a subsequent appeal, that would be reviewed by the planning commission. So there is some criterion here. The criteria is pretty consistent with documents for these sort of things going back to the 1950s. I did look at least 6 other municipalities in southwestern Ohio. Also looked at the fire code, property maintenance code that have provisions for this. Looked at the ORC, it was circulated to the law department, and trying to keep this sort of policy within the realm of reasonableness. I've seen ones that were like 20, 30 pages long. I figure essentially 7 pages, which would include some sort of guidelines or a template for reviewing these things would be reasonable, at least for the first go.
Questions for Mr. Skelly?
Page 4, this is just a clarification, I'm just not, can you explain to me what you meant by item?
Item E. Have a new 100 decimal sequence. So essentially for when we have the break in a block, so we would, instead of having it into the thousands, essentially you would have 200, 300, or 400, figuring out what would make sense. Granted, you have for a larger box, when there's a continuation, you might have numeric addresses that are in the thousands or whatever. But trying to keep it simple so you don't have, let's say, 5 digits.
Right, that's in here, that you stay with 4 digits.
Ideally, correct. Again, it could be changed
Okay.
if there was, warrants for it, but
So this is at an intersection, you have a perpendicular intersection that you relook at and you start with a new 100 or something.
correct.
Okay, I got it. I know you say prefers the use of avenues. I was
I was
surprised
trying to
see
be
that.
respectful of the history for the city, but a lot of places when they look at, and again, as an engineer, you might appreciate that there's a certain typology for streets, avenues, roads, everything. So I think typically an avenue would be more a north-south type of road. In Norwood, we have pretty much everything listed as avenue. So I think that can continue depending on the type of road. So that's why it's there. It's just
Just answered my question. I was wondering, which is it? Is it avenue or is it A through F?
what do you say throughout?
But see the items A through F under,
Yes.
in other words, you're not using north-south as a certain thing and east-west as a certain thing.
Correct. It's not gospel. I'm just saying here's
That's
if
your
it-
guidelines?
Correct.
Okay.
So, and again, it's not my guideline. It's in terms of what the documentation trail was.
And something that I don't think is rules now is for all commercial and industrial buildings, it will be lighted. That's in item E.
Yeah, and I would say again, it's something subject to the reviewer. And to me, when you have, let's say, higher density multifamily, I think it's worthwhile having that.
Okay, no, I'm not saying it's,
So-
I'm against it. I'm just saying, these are the kind of things, whoever is that first reviewer, which we designated the way you read it by NOAA, right?
Yeah.
I could just hear, this is one of those things, somebody's come back and say, what do you want, how do you want me to like this thing?
Good point. So that's becomes the fine line. Again, so I have standards here, and you've probably seen it.
I'm not being critical.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, so you can go towards having, so the city does not have, let's say, engineering specifications, which those documents can be in hundreds of pages long and everything's addressed. So with regards to, let's say, those sort of design measures, if it's some sort of illumination that it's going to be an entrance standard, a sign or whatever, I think between the discretion of the developer and staff can hopefully figure out a resolution to that.
This is one of those cases where I believe if I were the public services, either fire or police, I think in commercial, you'd want them lit.
I'd agree, but let's say without having a specific section. So a couple of months ago, we passed a ordinance, and it was, I guess, a manufacturer specification for a fire hydrant. And that's something critically important. But when you come to municipal infrastructure, a lot of municipalities have that for every single thing, for street furniture, whatever, garbage cans, everything's specified, including a critical aspect, which was signage, like municipal signage.
So when somebody comes for a building permit, the way I read this, it will no longer come to planning like that last one up on Montgomery Road, the apartment building. Remember that came in front of us?
Yeah, at least my last recollection was the multicolor north property.
This was the new apartment building
On Lexington?
on Lexington,
Yes.
because we couldn't figure out should the numbers be on Lexington or Montgomery Road. Anyway.
Correct. I was having a senior moment, so I do
I don't
recollect
mean
being
to
for
get
that
off
one as
track
well,
here.
yeah.
But I guess the point is, when I look at section 3, and I'm just curious, if I were being asked by NOAA to administer this, the $500 that you write in here, is that in addition?
I apologize, you might have an older
Initial
ordinance.
review fee of $500.
Yeah, that
I think if they're coming in for a building permit,
was stricken from, again, if you're looking at, on the first page, does it say September 25th?
sorry, well, it says September 24th.
Okay, so that was stricken, the fees.
I apologize.
No worries, there was ones that were probably before, but,
You took it to the last meeting.
yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry. So
Cheating.
yeah,
that is, initial review fees are struck.
correct.
That makes sense. Is that whole section then?
Yeah, user fees has been taken out.
Okay.
And I would say user fees, it's permit fees.
Sorry, Noah.
Not a problem. That's why we have questions.
Well, I'm just thinking if you were going to designate this as somebody, they're going to want to be able to check down through here and say, this is how we get there.
Absolutely.
Very well done. I can follow it. That means it's not very complicated.
Further questions? Any discussion?
Just discussion.
Same, different flavors of the same thing. Hearing none, I'll entertain any motion.
Make a motion that we accept the submittal of the 925 draft ordinance and suggest that it move on to council for approval.
We would recommend it to council.
Recommend to council for approval.
Yes. Is there a second?
I'll
Mr. Mayor?
second.
Mr. Hockney? Mrs. Town, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Howard,
Yes.
Mayor Schneider,
Yes.
Mrs. Sickinson.
Yes.
Mr. Hockney.
Yes.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, and I would like to thank Mike for doing this because I was uncomfortable when we were doing this as part of planning commission because I didn't have any idea how to do north, south, remember?
I do.
Okay.
Carry.
So,
I'll echo that. Thank you, Mike.
No, I'll wait till you guys finish and have a comment.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm just saddened that I've tried to put some humor in here also to satisfy my colleague to the left, including some Gaelic, and none of you guys brought it up.
I thought about
I read
It
it,
was like,
I read it.
Well, to me, the ordinance can be pretty dry, so I try to include some fun stuff in here, but it's like none of you guys caught up on that, so.
I'll admit that my Gaelic is weak,
Okay.
Siobhan.
Thank you.
despite having an Irish name. Okay, no absent members. That takes us to item H, adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Town, please call the roll.
Chairman Powers,
Yes?
Mayor Snyder,
Yes.
Mrs. Siggins.
Yes.
Mr. Hodgman.
Yes.
Mr. Sewer.
Yes. We are adjourned at 4:10. Thank you, everyone.